Part 1. Understanding the debate on hell. An introduction. The doctrine of hell has been a subject of intense theological discourse throughout Christian history, occupying a central position in eschatological studies. This debate encompasses not only the nature and duration of divine punishment but also touches on fundamental questions of God's character, human free will, and the ultimate destiny of creation. In contemporary Christian theology, three primary perspectives on hell have emerged: eternal conscious torment, annihilationism, and universal reconciliation. Each of these views finds support among respected theologians and is grounded in specific hermeneutical approaches to biblical texts and systematic theological reasoning. The traditional view of eternal conscious torment, dominant in Western Christianity since the patristic period, posits that those who reject divine grace will experience endless, conscious punishment. This perspective interprets passages such as Matthew chapter 25 verse 46 and Revelation chapter 20 verse 10 as indicative of unending punitive suffering. Proponents argue that the infinite nature of God necessitates an infinite punishment for sin, a concept articulated by theologians like Augustine of Hippo and Thomas Aquinas. Annihilationism, also termed conditional immortality, proposes that unrepentant souls will ultimately cease to exist rather than suffer eternally. This view, advocated by scholars such as John Stott and Edward Fudge, interprets biblical references to destruction and perishing in a literal sense. Annihilationists contend that this perspective better aligns with the concept of divine justice and the finite nature of human transgression. They often cite passages like Matthew chapter 10 verse 28 and 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 verse 9 to support their position. Universal reconciliation, or Christian universalism, suggests that God will ultimately reconcile all of creation to himself. This view, which finds historical precedent in the works of Origen and Gregory of Nyssa, interprets passages like 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 22 and Colossians chapter 1 verse 20 as indicative of a universal scope of salvation. Modern proponents like Thomas Talbot argue that this perspective most fully expresses God's love and redemptive power, though critics contend it undermines human free will and the urgency of evangelism. The significance of this debate extends far beyond academic circles, profoundly influencing pastoral approaches, evangelistic methodologies, and individual spiritual formation. Our understanding of hell shapes our conception of divine attributes, particularly the interplay between God's justice and mercy. Moreover, it informs our anthropological understanding, touching on questions of human free will, the nature of the soul, and the ultimate destiny of humanity. This debate also intersects with broader philosophical and ethical questions. The problem of evil and suffering, a perennial challenge in theodicy, takes on new dimensions when considered in light of eternal punishment. Similarly, questions of proportionality in justice and the purpose of punishment in a divine economy are central to these discussions. Hermeneutically, the hell debate highlights the challenges of interpreting ancient Near Eastern apocalyptic literature in a modern context. Scholars must grapple with the cultural and linguistic gaps between the biblical authors and contemporary readers, considering how terms like eternal, destruction, and punishment were understood in their original contexts. As we delve into this complex theological terrain, it's crucial to approach the subject with intellectual humility and charitable discourse. Each perspective is held by sincere, biblically grounded Christians who seek to faithfully interpret Scripture and understand the divine nature. Our exploration aims not to definitively resolve this age-old debate, but to provide a nuanced understanding of each view, its scriptural basis, and its theological implications. In subsequent segments, we will examine each perspective in greater depth, exploring their biblical foundations, historical development, and contemporary articulations. We will also consider the philosophical implications of each view and their practical impact on Christian life and ministry. Through this comprehensive analysis, we hope to equip viewers with a robust understanding of this crucial theological discussion, fostering informed reflection on the nature of divine judgment and ultimate human destiny.